We're just getting started, and welcome to Startup Pitch Battle. We've got a heavy competition of 4 amazing startups tonight and 3 great judges, and we want your feedback. If you're an investor, would you invest? Are these pitches good enough? The judges will be judging on story, people, product, market, and then the overall pitch. And Adam, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I will be cutting Adam off at the 5-minute mark, and there will be Q&A and feedback from the judges.
So my name's Adam Johansson, and I started this project called Project Lightfoot about a year ago. And like I said, it's all about connecting people to the environment. When I started, I really wanted to do something for the climate, and I didn't really know what it was going to be. I had this simple thought, though. I was thinking, what percentage of my income would I have to spend to offset my carbon footprint? And this thought kind of rolled around in my mind for a while. And I compare it very similar to The Boy That Cried Wolf. Like what's happening right now, in my opinion, is there's a lot of people saying, save the planet right now. Let's go. Act now. But there's really no solutions. I didn't find a single solution that spoke to me that was able to offer a simple, cheap, and convenient alternative. There's all these problems. The world's on fire, but nobody is really doing anything. Everybody seems to be chugging along normal pace. So here's a couple of problems that I noticed. Number one is, when anxieties are running high, emotionally charged headlines are passing around, it doesn't lead to action. It forces you not to do anything. And this is the psychology of this is really just, it's hitting into your fight or flight response. And subconsciously, when you're not presented with an alternative, your mind will always prefer to ignore the problem. Most people are just way too busy. They don't know where to start, like myself about a year ago. And quite frankly, a lot of the products just suck. They either don't exist, or they're too time consuming. They have embedded commitments. They are just not practical for our busy lives. So the solution I come up with is basically Lightfoot as it is today. It's a monthly subscription service that connects your monthly spending to your carbon footprint. I like to say that it's hands-free. We automatically plant all the trees for you, so you can go carbon neutral without even leaving your house. And it's really simple. It's easy to maintain. There's no commitments. There's no strings attached. There's no low quality information. We make it really easy for you guys to stay motivated and through a rewards program and a product giveaway that we run every month. So how does it work? It's basically very simple. You sign up, link your bank account, track your carbon footprint. This comes out every month. And you basically earn rewards while you're planting. And we do all the planting for you. So you don't have to worry about really anything other than just checking your account every so often. And tuning into our product giveaways every month. And we take care of the rest. We make it easy for you to do something great for the planet. A bit about the market that we're going after. I like to say that we're trying to be the Stripe of climate change. I really want to focus on building a developer-friendly experience and focusing specifically on the ESG market. Now, large companies are extremely focused on this. Here are a couple of the numbers here. Just the direct carbon offsetting market is about 600 million per year. The carbon permitting market is sort of a little bit larger bubble than that. Specifically related to regulatory carbon offsetting is about $44 billion per year. And the ESG market comes in at a whopping, this is assets under management, by the way, but massive market, $40 trillion as of December 31st, 2020. So it goes to show you the scale of how big the problem is and how interested the people are in actually solving the problem. It is a global problem. There is no larger problem than this. Okay.
That was your 5 minutes. I appreciate the pitch. Now over to the judges. We are going to start with you, Will. You've always got something to say.
thanks, Adam, for that, and thanks for going first.
Welcome.
And you know, just full disclosure, Adam and I have worked together on his pitching before, so I'm a little bit, I know a bit more of the backstory, and we've kind of worked on getting the story, and we are still very new on crafting this. I appreciate the starting with the personal story. What I would love to see, though, is just a more concise story at the beginning, and then getting to the crystallized problems and solutions a lot earlier. So just, and making sure the story is just really highlighting those problems. So this is what I wanted to do, or this is how I noticed this. And I noticed there was this specific gap. And then that's why I decided to solve this specific problem, and getting into it much faster, just to make sure that the story is there. So we get to know you, we get to know why you started it, but we get to the sort of meat and potatoes, which is the problem and solution of the pitch, a lot sooner. And then, as I'm sure Craig will say, or would say if he was judging, not just what the market opportunity is, but how are you going to get them?
I have a few questions. Obviously, you know, you weren't able to complete your entire pitch, so maybe you can just quickly answer a few of the things that I'm still wondering about. Part for me in there was your actual business model. So you outlined the market, but I'd be interested in knowing, okay, so how do you actually make money? You take a piece of the transaction, and do you actually go and plant the trees yourself? Does your company plant the trees, or do you find other, you know, nonprofits to donate to then plant the trees?
Great question. Thanks, Alex. So our business model is very straightforward. We use a percentage of the donations we raise for charities that we work with, and we work with the most transparent and competitive charities out there. We actually rank these charities based on a framework that I developed, which basically, one of our competitive advantages is working with charities that have the lowest cost per ton of CO2, like reducing CO2 emissions in the most effective way, because that way we can pass the savings right back to the consumers. Does that help answer your question?
Yeah, I think in a follow-up to that, is your business a profit or a non-profit business?
It's a for-profit business.
Okay.
That we work with nonprofits.
Okay. So for example, with every dollar donated, what percent of that dollar, how many cents would go to you as revenue, and how many would be passed on as to sort of continue that sort of donation piece?
Yep, it's 10%. So for every $1, 10 cents stays with us, 90 cents goes with the charities.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Adam, tough job doing a 5-minute pitch. It's almost the hardest. For instance, at Maple Leaf Angels, we give people half an hour. It's really tough to get all the important points in those 5 minutes that you were given tonight. So hats off for giving it a go, and practice will get you there.
Thank you.
But it's not easy. 5 minutes is tough. Having said that, I don't know how far along you are. If you're just at the idea stage, have you actually sold anything yet? And maybe you can start with that. Is this a viable, or is this a business that's actually operating now, or is it intended to be operating?
Yeah, so for the last year, I've been working on building it myself, and I've brought in a couple developers as well to help me build it. It started off really as a survey that I started working on with about 150 people, and I got some really good sounding from that convinced me to just go out and build it and try it. So we're about a month away from our launch. I've been keeping in contact with the people through the survey, and you know, our interest level is around 90% of the people in that survey are interested in using the product when it goes live. So,
okay, cool. So then, shortly. So a little bit of advice. I assume you're looking for funding to get you to that next level. I say to a lot of companies that there are a lot of good companies, but they're not always going to be the type of company that an angel investor per se would invest in, because we're looking for relatively hyper growth type of companies, you know, that are going to ramp up very quickly. Having said that, I think your company could be ideal for some kind of sort of group funding type of program, and maybe Equivesto can help out in that regard. It's a tough business raising money, and like we're always looking for those companies that can really take off. So if you are looking for that kind of a situation, you'll have to make a case for that, like how you can ramp up your revenues really quickly.
All right, I'm Ruben from Award Pool. Thanks for coming out tonight and watching my presentation. Just to throw quickly, we're on equivesto.com/award pool. So we're Whirlpool, and so we are a company focused on gamer engagement. We're founded by three very experienced entrepreneurs. My partner Alex, who comes from sort of the sort of accounting and public companies. He's an expert in essentially taking companies public. He's got years of experience doing it. We met as angel investors in an angel group, Angel One, which is out in Oakville and Burlington area. Ahmad, he's an entrepreneur. He recently sold his esports company to Amuka Esports here in Toronto. He's the founder of Waves, which was one of the first and biggest esports facilities in Canada. And myself, I'm Reuben. I guess you'd say I'm a serial entrepreneur. A little side note, I've got the honor of being rejected by 465 VCs over the years. I also was able to raise a substantial amount of money over the years, north of 120 million in my various companies. So in the next area, so what are we? So we're focused on an area that's really exciting, we believe, and this is the gaming area. So if you think of the gaming industry as being two areas of a spectrum, on one end of the spectrum, you've got casual gamers. The casual gaming market represents 2.5, 3 billion gamers. On the other side of the spectrum, you've got sort of esports, you've got professionals. If you think of it like the PGA, you've got a few hundred professional golfers and you've got millions of casual golfers. We're focused on the intersection of both those trends. We've created a platform that essentially allows our brands, companies of various sorts to better engage the gamer audience. If you're Generation Z, you're not going on social networks to interact with your friends. You're going on Fortnite, you're going on Call of Duty, you're going on games. Games are the new social network. And being able to engage gamers is what we're doing. In terms of our background, when we first started the company, we pivoted, in fairness. The company is roughly about a year old. Our first initial focus was on esports. And we realized quickly that there was a bigger opportunity, not just in, as I said, these sort of professional level esports players, but in the intersection of the casual gamers. And how do you grab those casual gamers? How do you keep them engaged? How do you get value from that segment? So we've created a platform that essentially provides all these sort of gamification and tools that really allow us to better engage the sort of gamer audience. Again, we have 5 minutes, so I'm going to go quickly here. So what we've done is we created essentially a widget that brands can use to create these types of challenges that can, again, enable a kind of gamification. And that's a broad level of things. So from one end of the spectrum, you can do social media related activities, get rewarded for liking, following, doing certain things, uploading a video, doing a stream. You can also get rewarded for playing the games that you're already playing. So if you're playing Call of Duty, you're playing Fortnite, you're playing League of Legends, you're doing well, you're getting points. You can redeem those points for things. Those things can be t-shirts, it could be a PlayStation. We have integrated gift card capabilities. So we like to think that we're kind of like a mixture of like PayPal, but for sort of social game related activities. We have our initial traction with a number of large partners, including Seagate Gaming and a number of nonprofits who are using our platform to raise capital and get better engagement within the gaming community. You should invest in us because we're experienced. We have a lot of traction. We've done it before. We're going to do it again. And if you're interested in learning more about us, check us out. And if you can invest in us at equivesto.com/awardpool.
Right under the wire. Good job, Reuben. We might as well start with you, Jeff. What do you have any questions or feedback for Reuben?
Reuben, good job. The challenge is trying to get your business case across in that 5 minutes. But I didn't really understand your business model because you probably just didn't have enough time to get to it. And what kind of channels are you using? How are you going to market? How are you raising awareness? That sort of thing. And then what kind of revenue potential you have. You mentioned some traction right at the end. I would have loved to have seen if you've got some. How have you been doing for the last few months? Where do you think it's going to go? Investors love to see the potential, even if it's sometimes a wild ass guess. It does help us to see what the opportunity is.
What do you think, Will?
I started to really perk up when I heard about the story of the business, and this is where Gen Z are hanging out. This is what the market opportunity is like, and to supplement what Jeff was saying about the business opportunity, I would have loved to have started with that just as sort of a story, because it is a bit of a revelation to somebody like me. I'm still enough. I'm young, but I'm not that young. So I'm not quite sure about where all these kids are hanging out and what that opportunity is. I was very surprised in recent years to hear that esports is such a crazy thing. So the excitement of this new burgeoning industry and how insane the growth is, and how it's kind of still a bit of a wild west, is to me the real exciting thing. So I would have loved for that to come in a little earlier, and then maybe the team to come in just a bit later to say, like, the idea works on its own. Now here's why we're the team to do it. So two different ways you could go about that. Yeah. And then I think I also, there was a bit too much time spent on discussing a bit of the details, like how it could work. I would always say, for this sort of walkthrough of what the thing does, just 1 or 2 examples and very clear steps, so you don't take up too much time on it, especially in a 5-minute pitch. But really great speaking skills that you have. Your voice is strong. You brought energy and passion. I believe in you as an entrepreneur just from the way that you're presenting yourself. So I thought you did fantastic in that regard.
And over to you, Alex.
Thanks again, Ruben, for a great pitch. A lot of great feeling and emphasis coming across. I think looking for a bit more clarity around the business model. So if you could, help explain a little bit more how you guys sort of make money and you take a piece of the transaction, or sort of how that works. I think that would be useful information to include. Finding a way to just sort of like what Jeff said, finding a way, and Will, to simplify that key piece of what exactly it is you do. It is obviously complicated, but finding a way to sort of say that a little bit shorter would give you a bit more time to talk about, okay, demonstrating the traction, demonstrating the business model, those sort of pieces, which would be helpful. But obviously, 5 minutes is a very short amount of time, and you came in just under the wire. So I appreciate the pitch, and if you wouldn't mind actually saying some of the ways that you make money in the business model, that would be appreciated.
Yeah, so we're focused right now. We're early stage companies, so we're doing charter projects with big brands that essentially want to access gamers. And our longer term plan is the SaaS based offering. It'll be monthly subscription. You'll get a discount if you sign up for a year. There's different plans along the way. So it's a SaaS based business for the most part. We're focused on MRR and ARR. If you're familiar with SaaS, it's exactly that.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name is Anatoly, and today we'll be talking about the next big thing in tech, the agreement platforms. First of all, I want you to think of Ben, this industrious, diligent SMB owner. His life is busy. He's managing a bunch of contracts and negotiations with his customers. In the good old days, he was, using these paper-based processes, mailing letters and contracts back and forth. And you would think today his life is easier. Well, it's not. There's a bunch of tools, scattered communication, and with COVID and digitization, he's constantly being pushed for efficiency. And how would Ben become this efficient deal maker with optimized risk, easy and navigatable contracts? Well, he'd scratch his head and be like, okay, I'll connect my email to a document, like a template platform, and then I'll go negotiate back and forth, and then I'll sign it somehow, and then I'll store it somewhere, and then it just becomes a mess. And because of that process, probably around $90 billion is lost yearly in North America across SMB owners. The process is complex. There's a lot of communication channels, multiple tools, steps. It's time consuming, and it's risky because none of the platforms are legally compliant. Because of that, SMB spend has increased by 38% in the last 6 years. That's why we're building Paqt, Ben, don't worry. We make agreements fly for SMB decision makers without compromising speed and legal security. We make them efficient, we make them fast, the deal cycles and approvals, it's budget friendly and still legally secure. Moreover, because your partners are in the same ecosystem, you enjoy the network effect. So how are you different from DocuSign, one might ask? Well, in our case, the chat is the glue that connects the communication, the documents, the signatures, the payments, everything together. Document creation wasn't as easy as it is. You just drag and drop some components, draft up the legal verbiage, and share it back to the chat. Also, you could attach variables like company name, director name, that are pluggable into other tools that you're using. Also, if you don't like something in a contract, you could just highlight and click negotiate and counter offer, and your party would see what has specifically changed, so you don't have to double check each time. The product itself is a combination of the chat app and deal-making tools that serve the holistic experience from negotiation to post-contractual management. We also have a few interesting cool things like bank-powered digital ID, so you know who are you dealing with, chat extracts so that you could prove your agreement in court later on. As I like to say, it's like an agreement Swiss knife. You know, you have a lot of blades and you're not even sure how to use this one, but it's everything you need but the lawyer. Comparing to the competition, they don't have the flexibility. They don't have the opportunity to interact with the users inside of the platforms, and they're still reliant on email processes. Moreover, they're not media compatible, so you cannot attach an audio file or a video or a photo as part of your agreement and prove that in court later on. The market is huge. Just even if we would downgrade the 90 billion and just, you know, focus on something really small, the TAM for legal tech is 8 billion, and using the Pareto principle, 1.6 billion would probably be for SMBs. Or we could recalculate that just taking half of the SMBs that are more or less digitized and just spending on the digital signature, which is a 1.8 billion market on its own. We have chosen a tier subscription model with add-on features and legal automation. And of course, there's a hockey stick in this presentation. Our go-to-market is targeting frequent deal makers, specifically B2B focused IT service providers, those who are developing applications and games and VR, AR experiences and websites, learn from their second connection interactions and scale it through lookalike audiences to tangential markets. We had some traction over time, being built from legal tech hackathons into business law clinics, building our first demo, graduating from Founder Institute with a wait list of 100 users and 5 LOIs. And now we're in the legal tech cluster called Legal Innovation Zone. We have a great team, balanced, a second-time founder marketing experience being me, a licensed lawyer, William, and Slava, full stack senior developer with previous CTO experience. We also have an amazing advisory board, which consists of various backgrounds from corporate to startup to legal tech and overall strategic decision making. So just to leave you with a few key points, we are empowering SMB owners just like Ben, shaping the future of work and saying stop bundling those tools and use a simple all-in-one platform. And that the agreement optimization is a rapidly growing area comparable to CRM systems, and it's the next big thing. Thank you, and strike deals with Paqt.
That was great, Anatoly. Thank you.
Thank you, Anatoly, for a great presentation. I really appreciated the cadence. You were able to sort of get all your points across effectively and move through the slides in a great manner. It helps that I've talked to you before, but I got it from the pitch as well. I would love to have a little bit more information on your traction and everything. You have that slide that shows sort of the things that you've done in the past, which is really helpful, but even additional emphasis on that slide of where are you right now and what is sort of the next step? How many pending users, you know, you're in the closed beta, what does that mean? I think that would be a really great piece to see as well from the presentation to help sort of drive that excitement and fill out the first bit of your hockey stick.
What Alex said. No, great presentation, very succinct. You got through all the key areas in your 5 minutes. I agree with Alex that I think you've got to tell a bit of the forward story as well. And you identifying the market is great and the market potential, but why you? Like that's the piece I thought was a little bit, you could have filled out a little bit about how you're going to actually make a great company in that market. So show us a little bit about, you know, if you have any traction other than LOIs, great, but show where it's going to go. You know, when are you going to start seeing some revenue coming in? How are you going to get that revenue? That's all really useful stuff. I know it's tough in 5 minutes, so I'm not going to hold it against you at all. But generally speaking, I think you're in a great market, and I think you're in such a great market that you're actually in a market. I'm about to make an investment in a company called Quote Machine. You can check them out. Very similar, Montreal-based company, omni-channel, handling a lot of what you're handling. So I think you're in a good spot. Keep it up.
Will?
Fantastic, Anatoly. And again, like Alex, I've heard the pitch before and I've seen it come leaps and bounds. And I just want to say congratulations because you've come such a long way with it. And it's so exciting to see where the pitch is at right now and to see the passion and the competence with which you're pitching it. It's really, really awesome. So first off, great job. Yeah, and just to echo what Jeff and Alex said, and yeah, just some sense as you're giving in these answers now of the sort of not the go-to-market strategy, but yeah, the achieving revenue strategy and specifically from a marketing angle, like how are you going to get your name out there? How are you going to find these users? And some kind of strategy around that, I think would be interesting to me. And then in terms of the actual delivery, I would love for you to strip it down a little bit. If you're presenting in these 5-minute iterations, there's just, you do it really well, but there's a lot of words and acronyms thrown out there. And I think for people who may not be in the industry, simplifying it a little bit and telling Ben's story a little bit more simply of the pain around not being able to do that. Sorry, I've lost you here for a second. The pain around not being able to solve this problem, and then to just show a bit more why these customers will flock to this thing rather than it just being a great market for lots of money for the investor, but why customers themselves will really jump at this.
Thank you. That was great, Anatoly. And we're going to welcome Doug up to the screen.
My name is Douglas Mockery, AIRO.LIFE. And the year was 1989. I was 7 years old. So I came home from school. My lunch was a little light that day, and I asked my mom why so. She broke down crying and explained that things were going to be very different going forward. My parents were entrepreneurs. They took a lot of risks. With those risks, sometimes comes failure. So it brought a lot of hard times. Right now, currently, with the ecosystem, there's many people going through hard times. So what are some of those problems? 50% of Canadians and Americans only have $200 less of disposable income at the end of every month. 50% of Canadians and Americans are teetering upon bankruptcy. That was prior to the pandemic. Brands have actually seen a decrease in engagement with conventional ads. People want content, quality content. Phones and phone plans are expensive, still in Canada and in the United States relatively towards the rest of the world. So how do we go about solving this? Well, we've flipped the script. Never pay for your smartphone or data again. We're world's first smartphone and data plan completely free to the end user. So let's walk through this. How does this exactly work? Well, it's an app and content delivery system or platform. We take over certain elements of the device, certain screens that give those brands the highest visibility in the world. Now, what does it do for end users? Well, it simply saves them a minimum of $50, upwards to $200 a family per month. That's mass savings. They could go to groceries, etc. You need a team. Ideas are great, but it's all about the execution. So what better to bring on people that have walked the path before to multi-billion-dollar organizations? We're fortunate enough to have BlackBerry personnel, global supply chain advisors, Sean Taylor with BlackBerry, who's brought the accessories division to over $1 billion in multiple organizations. Shalisha Harris is entrenched with Coca-Cola, Kraft Heinz, and a longtime friend, Vic Batia, who's worked with tier one retailers throughout North America. Ken McDonald with his content experience, because this is about content. What's my background? I've worked with the energy drinks for a number of years in action sports, and we've drove a lot of traffic around those properties. 1,000 people a day have signed up in trial runs. People want what we have to offer. Our customers are not the end user, but our customers are banks and ad agencies, content makers. So case studies, where are we drawing this from? Well, there's a certain company in India who's now the largest media company in India after a year and a half with one small aspect of our model. Where are we at? Well, it's MVP state to pilot, building upon KPIs, keeping the brands, your customers happy, bank happy. Where are we with the bank? Well, we have term sheets. We've closed Underknown, the #1 content provider for science and education in the world. They're given the Webby Awards. We ran a successful Indigo campaign, and we've actually have MRRs of a completely non-focus of our core, which is accessories of $5,000 a month. You know, just that was an accident, and that's a great accident to have. We have great partners throughout the ecosystem of North America. Fortunate to have them. And his background, we are valued at 25 million right now. Exit strategy, M&A, IPO in 5 to 8 years. But this is about growth and creating a great company and then going to the next stage appropriately. We're currently on Equivesto. I'd recommend to check them out. It's a great platform for pre-seed seed companies to utilize.
And thank you very much.
Thank you.
I wonder if I'm the only one on the panel who has judged you twice, Doug. Good to see that you're still at it. I liked the idea then. I like it now as well. As far as the presentation goes, I guess the only piece that's still a little missing for me, and maybe there's ways to fill it in nicely, is banks will be your customers, but you also need advertisers, I think, right? That's the whole focus. So a little bit maybe on how you hope to attract advertisers. Maybe you've had some initial interest just to get us kind of, more pulled in. Like maybe there's a bank that's already said, hey, if you get to this point, we're in. Like, I don't know if it's an MOU or an LOI or anything like that would be really great in terms of making that final push to a sale.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for that. We do actually have a term sheet for 7-figure with a bank right now. And then we also have some major agencies in the US that are backed by some of the largest brands in the world that are going to be integrating quality content on our devices. So it's exciting. And yeah, our push is this year just for that first step in market. So thanks for that question. And yeah, we're constantly building upon it. So other agencies that want to be involved, yeah, we're open to it.
Yeah. With your list of advisors, I don't really think there's much that we can help you with on the advice side, but that was just a little bit of comment on the pitch itself.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Good luck with everything. Carry on. Keep at it.
Will, what did you think?
I thought you covered all the major pieces that I was looking to hear, basically. And I got a real sense of like, this is a rocket ship taking off with or without you, which I always love to hear as from a pitch of kind of like, this is what we're doing. I can prove it works. I can prove it's happening. If you want to get on board, great. If not, there's a lot of people who will. And I really got that sense from you, from both the way you pitched it and from the content that you had. So good job there. I will say the one piece that I thought was maybe could be omitted was the piece where it was about environmental social governance. To me, it just was unnecessary and it was a bit confusing with the kind of tone you were striking before. To me, the really amazing thing was starting with the story about your parents. I found that very emotionally compelling. I really like that piece. To me, that I always, tell people to try to start with that emotional, personal story. I love that. But then when the environmental thing started coming in, I was like, wait, what kind of company is this? So I would say, yeah, just for this length of pitch, maybe removing that or keeping it to the very end, just like this is what we ultimately want to do. But yeah, to me, that could maybe be removed and might be a little sharper for it. And then one very picky note on your speaking skills is just you have great confidence and really, really great tone and volume and pace. Just work on your clarity a little bit. There's some words that got a little swallowed there. So a great exercise is slow down and speak with a pen between your teeth and really work on enunciating around the pen. And then that like strengthens the mouth muscles and that'll just help you hit those consonants a little bit better. But great job.
Alex, we didn't get any questions or feedback from you.
Great pitch. I think the first question, which a lot of the attendees are probably asking is, when can I get a phone? Like, sign me up. Where do I start using this? I think, great pitch. Again, want to echo sort of what Jeff and Will were saying. You've given the pitch a lot of times and you speak very fast. So you get a lot of the pieces across very quickly, which is fantastic in a short amount of time. But sometimes with the words you've used to saying a lot, they kind of like blend a little bit into each other. So just doing the pen thing maybe once or twice might help with that. And then, it's such an exciting idea. And from someone looking to invest, they might want to learn a bit more about, okay, what does it actually look like in terms of the revenue model? Obviously, you're working with the banks, you're working with the advertisers. How does that actually fit together? But I know that's proprietary, and so you don't want to tell me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's still what I want to know though.
Yeah. If we get to the stage of LOI and then we got a few forms signed off on, then I get really in the deep weeds, and that's what gets people even more so excited.
So thank you, Doug. As a winner for the audience preference, 67% for Paqt, the agreement platform, and 33% to AIRO.LIFE. The judges, however, made a slightly different choice. It was close, but the final total and the winner of the first startup pitch battle is Doug from AIRO.LIFE. Congrats, Doug. Congrats.
Woohoo.
Thanks, everyone. There's so many strong companies in the Canadian ecosystem, and Paqt, that's an excellent product. Award pool, everyone on tonight. I like the ESG plays, so I've had a lot of practice, and that's thanks to a lot of these great avenues in Canada. So I appreciate everyone for their support of our team product at play here. So thanks again.